Hello friends, followers and channel members, welcome to another video here in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and in today's video something quite exciting. How many times do you wish you could practice your landings over and over, or you could practice a certain approach, say a difficult approach with somewhere where there's lots of terrain, lots of things to do, Innsbruck perhaps for example? Or do you wish you could fly a particular sector and have some failures to contend with at the same time? Well, this is what real-life pilots have to go through when they're placed in a professional simulator a few times per year. They get given certain scenarios that they have to navigate, they have to prove their competence in doing things like crosswind landings, that kind of thing. So that's the kind of thing that I'm sure you all wish you could practice relatively easily in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And of course you can, but actually setting the aircraft up for these scenarios takes a bit of time, particularly in an aircraft as advanced as the Fenix. In fact, until now, the best way to go ahead and practice your landings was to just do base training, which is okay, but it does require you to fly full circuits all of the time. FSIPanel has been designed to help flight simulator pilots train for approaches on their favourite aircraft in the same way that real airline pilots do. Every time you want to practice an approach to a different runway, you normally need to spend quite a bit of time setting up all the parameters, programming things into the flight computer, but FSIPanel will do all of this for you within just a few seconds. And of course, you can select your own weather, so you really can train for all eventualities. It's been around for a while now, but they are just about to release the Fenix version and make it compatible with the Fenix A320, which, given the level of detail that we get in the Fenix, means this is actually really exciting and can turn your desktop simulator into, as close as possible, a proper full A320 simulator capable of practicing lots of different approaches and lots of different scenarios. In this video we're going to take a look at the setup and then see just how easy and how quick it is to actually get going and fly an approach. Installation is very straightforward. Once you've downloaded and installed the product, you'll be asked to activate it using a licensing key. You will then be sent an email confirming this activation, and it will also give you a 4-digit code that you will need just to unlock all of the features. The initial setup couldn't be simpler. On its first launch, you're asked to specify what units you want to use for the weight and the weather, and then you're brought to the main screen. You'll see in the bottom left that no aircraft has yet been detected. That's just because my simulator isn't running at the moment. If your simulator is running, get yourself at the airport you want to fly from, and then you can restart FSIPanels and it will automatically detect whereabouts you are. Okay, so the simulator is up and running, and if we just now have a quick check, we can see that it's detected the Fenix A320. Let's go and select an airport where we can go and test this out. So Marseille, and we will go runway 13 left. We'll set that for departure. You can leave in live weather, anything like this, but you will be able to change this on the fly when you're actually using the program to test everything. So let's just leave it for live weather for now. Hit fly, and we'll just go ahead and wait for that to load. So here we are then, sat runway 13 left here in Marseille, and if we just bring up the FSI panel, we'll see that it automatically has detected where we are, which runway we're at, etc. If for some reason it doesn't do this, just close down FSI and restart it again. Now, if you had FSI running prior to launching the sim, it may be the case that you will have to restart it, but a quick restart, and here we are. And we can set up exactly what we want to do. You can see pretty self-explanatory here on the panel. We can enter any of the downwinds, base, finals, etc., wherever we want to be. But let's go ahead and have a look at some of the settings that you also can go through and set up as well. So down at the bottom, obviously we're on the position page at the moment, so we can just select one of those, which we'll go and do in a moment. Sim controls, we can tell it what sim rate we want, or freeze the altitude. We can tell it what altitude, heading, speed, etc. we want to set if that is the case. We can also select failures if that's your thing. We can then just go and have a look at the main setup as well. So If we looked to do a short, quick, final, or even a long one, you can go and change how many miles out you want to do. So you really can go and tailor this program to set up anything specific to the landing that you want to do. We can also see this is also available for downwind, the base, and the vectors. You can also update the database as well if you have a Navigraph subscription. I've obviously not gone ahead and done this just yet, but I will do that in the future. And again, you can just change what units you want to be using if you're flying in a different part of the world. If we have a look at the tabs at the top as well for the higher fidelity aircraft such as the Fenix, for example, we've got options for the Mad Dog, the PMDG. We've also got the fly-by-wire in there as well, and of course we've got the Fenix. So if we leave the program ticked, it means that when we set up an approach in a moment, it will go through and set up the McDo and all the navigational aids, etc. So everything will be done all for you, and it's really impressive. I'll show you how that works in a couple of minutes. You can then also change your auto brake, of course, depending on what kind of airport you're landing at, what weather conditions you're going for, and you can also choose whether you want to do flaps full or a flaps 3 landing. There's also an airport editor as well, so if you're flying to an airport where the ILS frequency may have changed, for example, then you can go ahead and alter this here as well so that it's got it ready for your approach. So let's start with something nice and simple. Let's just do a finals approach into this runway. So we'll come back to the position tab, and I'm going to set up a long final for now. So here we go, we've got everything here. If we want to, we could select a fix, or we can select how many miles out. We can even fly a star, so you could fly a full standard instrument arrival for this airport if you so wished. And here's the list there, so we'll just go ahead, select one of those. We've got the transitions as well, different waypoints, etc. Once it's done that, go ahead and validate it, and then off you go. But I'm just for now going to do a nice long final straight out, so we should be pretty much lined up with the runway. It'll finish with autopilot engaged, and then it will give us the option to take control of the aircraft. Right, let's have a go. One important thing I need to mention though before doing this, so please don't skip this step. If you are in the Fenix, there are a couple of things that you need to make sure that you do specifically in order for this to work. Number one is start at the end of when you launch the simulator, make sure you start on a runway, basically that is with the engines running. If you spawn in at the gate and everything is shut down, then this will not work. What FSI will not do is get all your engines running and things like that. So make sure that you've got your engines running, and the easiest way for doing that, of course, is just to load in here on the runway. The other thing you will need to do is you can go into the EFB, and then we need to go and make the aircraft a little bit realistic with regards to its weights. So we can go to our mass and balance page, and using this, which those of you who have got the Fenix will be very familiar with, we could just load some passengers, a little bit of cargo, a little bit of fuel as well. We'll go and load the aircraft, just do that instantly, so that's all done. And then finally go to the ground services page, and you will have to remove the chocks and cones, which otherwise your aircraft will not move. Right, that's all done, so all that's left to do is bring FSIPanel back in, long final, and let's move the aircraft. Okay, just watch what happens as we do this. It looks quite scary to begin with, but I promise you all will be well in a moment. So let's move the aircraft, and then we get the FSIPanel instructions. We go 145 for the speed, then a heading of 132, and of course this will change depending on your aircraft's configuration, which airport you're landing at. Oh, a little bit too far, let's come back. 132, and we're going to set an altitude of 2,400 feet. Good, and then it says when ready, set your thrust levers to the climb detent. It tells us at the bottom the status, telling us we're basically not in the climb detent at the moment, so let's go and set that. So now your levers are in the detent, and here we go. This is what I meant about it just being a little bit scary to begin with, but at the moment everything is still being set up. So FSIPanel is doing exactly what it needs to do. It's turning all the dials where they need to go. Ignore any ECAM warnings or anything like that. That's just the way it is. You can see that FSI is typing everything that it needs to into the McDo for you, so we can let it do that. It's perhaps a little less scary watching that than it is seeing what's going on outside at the moment. But the way that this works is it will set everything up for you whilst you're falling down to the ground, and then it will reset the position of the aircraft, and you will find everything is nicely set up for the approach. So it's still preparing the approach at the moment, as you can see at the bottom left of the FSIPanel instruction panel, and it will take, there we go. So all we need to do now is hold the brakes for 3 seconds and then we can take control. So we'll just do that. There we go, I've released the brakes, we're now all set up, and if we have a quick look, autopilot's engaged. Let's just hit the approach button as well, so it's going to take care of everything for that. And here we are, we're coming into Marseille. So let me just disconnect the autopilot. I've now got control, and oh, that's Microsoft Flight Simulator doing its thing, obviously with the weather. So now we can fly a nice visual approach here into Marseille. Alright, so now we come to a stop. One of the other things you can have a look at after you've landed is it will give you a landing report. Let's go and see how bad that was. So we've got a good landing distance, good deviation from the center line, touchdown rate was a positive landing, so we'll take that. We haven't damaged anything, and the bank of the touchdown was perfect. Obviously the more you do these, you're going to see variations, so you're going to get I think whilst I was testing out the software, the worst one I got, one of these was said yeah, practice was required. So yeah, I really like this though. It gives you lots of information for you to go and look at, and obviously you can see down below we've got a graph showing everything as well. So nice to go and see that. We'll close that down, and let's go and have a look at setting up for a different kind of approach. What else can we do with FSIPanel? So let's see if we can use this to set up a full approach. Still coming into Marseille via Avignon. Let's go and see how we can get this to work for us. So using my Navigraph charts, let's have a look. We're going to come in runway 13 left, Marseille is correct, and if we select the fix, let's have a look for the star. Now, because FSIPanel comes with an outdated ARAC cycle, none of the stars in it actually equated to what were currently showing in use by Navigraph. So if you do want to do a full star approach, you do need to have a Navigraph subscription so you can update the ARAC cycle. So, quickly hopping back into the FSIPanel, I've just gone in and selected Edinburgh runway 24. We've selected the star that we want to do, and what is also a neat little thing I will show you is when you go and select an airport. Let's just go and select Glasgow, for example. If we Edinburgh, if we go and do that and we select the runway, when you go and select the runway, it'll tell you the current live weather. So you can see that we've currently got a crosswind component of 32, both ways. You've obviously got a tailwind of 8, headwind of 8, so the one in yellow or amber says, well, that's probably the runway that you're not going to be using. I've also seen this box highlighted in red when it's out of the limits for the A320, so again, just a very good way of enabling you to go and pick, when using current weather, is the correct runway to use for your approach. Of course, this is a simulator, so you can go ahead and select whichever runway you want, purely for fun, but I just thought that was quite a neat little piece of information getting there from the program. Once I got unloaded all this, let me just go and get that unpaused. You'll see that we are all set up, ready to come and fly the approach into Edinburgh, and we can do the full start and transition. So, working really nicely. The program also comes with training scenarios, and I believe these are going to be built upon with new ones added over time. Let's go and have a look at these. So we've got a short training flight, we've got the US Airways ditching in the Hudson River, of course, the RNAV approach into Washington, and also a Caribbean short trip. If we go and select one of those, let's quickly have a play. I'm going to leave this for you guys to enjoy once you've gone and got yourself this program, if you wish. We'll have a look at the instruction notes, and they are available to read through in details for all of these, and it tells you exactly what you need to go ahead and set everything to. I'll just close that down. Let me just set this one. In order for this to work, however, you do need to be on the ground already in the Fenix, runway 25 left at Frankfurt, but make sure that sometimes you will have to restart FSIPanel just so it can automatically detect your location. When it detects you are in the right place, then you can press the start training button. So even whilst we're still on the ground here at Frankfurt, we can go decide, let's go to somewhere with a nice short runway. So let's have a look at Jersey, for example. We'll select that airport, we'll select the runway, and we can see that a tailwind of 10 and crosswind of 7. We don't really want this runway, so we're going to go for runway 08. We'll go on a nice short final for that one. We'll go flaps full. Let's just jump inside the flight deck, and then we can move the aircraft, and this will set us up. It'll just catapult us and spawn us at the right airport. Let's go set what we need just here. Again, we get the usual ECAMs, but don't worry about those. So 145, heading of 83, and it's going to be a short final, so that's going to be 1,300 feet. And now we'll put the thrust levers into the climb descent. Okay, so it is currently preparing the approach. Don't worry about the fact it looks once again like we're dive bombing towards the English Channel. It'll get itself set up nicely. What I'm going to do then is, once it's all set up, I'm going to pause the simulator, and then I'm going to change the weather. It already looks a little bit choppy down there anyway, and this is on live weather, but I'm going to make it even worse. So let's just allow FSI to do its thing and get itself set up, and then we'll have a little bit of a play. Okay, I now have control of the aircraft, and we've set ourselves back up. So all I'm going to do now is toggle the active pause feature. We'll just stop that alarm, which I can't do when that's toggled actually, so there we go, that's better. So now that's paused, we can go and get rid of live weather. Let's make it a little bit nasty, shall we? Okay, so I've set up a little bit of a crosswind. We've got some nasty weather as well. Have a look at that. We can't even see the runway. So we've set up nasty weather. We've got crosswinds. We've got a little bit of rain. Autopilot is currently just getting us aligned with the ILS, and then, well, I'll try and bring her in. Hopefully, I'll be able to see some runway lights. But that's what the beauty of the simulator is all about. We can, of course, just go and do things that we couldn't ever really do in real life. We're 1,000 feet, still can't see the runway. Here comes the rain. Yeah, we can see autopilot doing a grand job at the moment. There's that wind as well. Leave that autopilot until around 200 feet, I'm reckoning. just coming through that cloud layer now. Hopefully we'll see that runway in a second. There it is. Right, let's see how we do. So, difficult conditions, certainly not the easiest of landings in the world. But that is the beauty of FSIPanel. You can set yourself up any way you want, set yourself up with whatever weather you want. You can just practice visual approaches, ILS approaches. You can do full start approaches as well. So for instance, imagine setting yourself up on the approach to Innsbruck, somewhere like that, all within the click of a button. It takes around 60 seconds. Everything is done automatically for you. So do I like the product? Well, hopefully I think you can tell by now that I do. I think it's a very neat, simple interface, very easy to set up, but also very in-depth as well. This video I've just really scratched the surface for a lot of the things with regards to the setup and the emergencies, etc., the failures that you can go ahead and have a little bit of a play around with. So taking a sort of simulator to the next level, you can almost practice full sim scenarios that real pilots have to deal with. So for real pilots out there, again, I highly recommend this because you can get yourself ahead of the game, so to speak, and it gives you a good chance as well in an aircraft that is as detailed as the Fenix to go through and run through the various ECAM actions, stuff like that. So let me know down in the comments below what you think to this product. Is it something you would find very useful? I certainly will be using this to test different things, like various different sensitivity settings of the rudder pedals that I've recently got, side stick. We can practice the crosswind landings, and we can do it over and over again. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please don't forget to leave a like, and of course if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well so you don't miss any future videos and content. Make sure you turn on that notifications button. Thank you so much, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye for now.